Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
All right. Happy to be chatting with you here today, Keith. Just to kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your kind of background? What do you do for a living? All that good stuff.
Okay. Name's Keith Kammerer. I am a registered architect. I've been an architect for close to 40 years now, and president and CEO of an architecture firm called Buckle Architects. I am working on my retirement, have a wife, 3 sons, and 4 grandkids now, along with some daughter-in-laws to go along with the sons, and gradually trying to reinvest some of my retirement savings into crypto in different and unique ways, which is what got me involved with Decentralized Masters.
Awesome, man. Before you started investing into decentralized finance, you mentioned the retirement fund there. So you were involved, it sounds like, in more traditional style kind of investing?
Correct. Over the course of the career, your 401k and those kind of investments, which were primarily stock-based, and while some of them had good choices, the choices were all within those stock funds and that type of equity markets. Probably starting in 2019 in that area before COVID, I got a little concerned about the direction of the economy and became a little more interested in taking, and because of my age, I could take some of those 401k funds and reinvest them in self-directed IRAs. Did that. The initial involvement in crypto was more direct purchase of crypto. That was a small portion of it. Also invested in other things, hard assets like gold and silver and some other things. So the initial part of that, was probably to get into the crypto market at a soft time as things descended for a couple of years. So it wasn't necessarily the best way to start it, but with the recent bull market, it certainly turned itself around. But also at the end of 2023 became aware of Decentralized Masters and about learning about some of the other ways you can be active and invest in the crypto market, which seemed to kind of fit more of what I was looking for, to be able to not just rely on the value increase of the particular product, but to be more involved with it and to create money in a different way. One of my desires was to take those assets that we had compiled over the years and try to multiply them to really kind of create for lack of a better, an asset that became sort of the core of a family bank, a generational family bank within a trust, obviously, but something that not only was beneficial for my wife and I as we go into our retirement age, but something that can be beneficial for the next couple of generations, and something that they can increase through managing it eventually, in the same manner. Hopefully we'll get it started that way, but we'll see.
Yeah, so a bit of a focus on kind of the building the generational wealth, really.
Correct, yes.
So what made you want to get into DeFi specifically?
Well, the ability to kind of use a phrase, be the bank, if you will. Initially, we were involved with iTrade Capital for a self-directed IRA or Coinbase or one of those, the typical markets for them, not even knowing anything about a decentralized market or really how that works. So the concept of being able to make money off the transactions by using your crypto in a different way, still holding it, but making money in that manner, just intrigued me to the point where it's allowing your money to work for you in a passive, it's not totally passive. You obviously have to be actively involved with it, but allowing you to make money off of other transactions or off of other services that, others are providing to the crypto market in general.
Yeah, kind of being able to enter the market as almost like a bit of a middleman, right?
Correct.
I think that's what's so special about the DeFi market is, to me, when I think about DeFi, I think about it as, a technology that allows the retail investor or the regular person to do things that only the banks can do in traditional finance. It kind of levels the playing field for everybody.
Right.
I think that's what's so groundbreaking about it. What is it you feel that made you feel comfortable, entering a partnership with Decentralized Masters initially?
Well, like anybody that's part of Decentralized Masters, it's a considerable investment right up front. But I'd have to say, initially I was impressed with the approach and intrigued by it. Essentially, you're buying into a knowledge base, if you will, and an educational process to teach you to kind of transfer that knowledge base to you so you can function independently as an investor. So from that standpoint, that kind of, how do I say this? I had struggled kind of trying to learn more about, crypto and that whole market to the point where I knew I needed help to really do it the right way. And the platform, the approach was to take the approach of doing it in a totally different way, which I knew absolutely nothing about in terms of getting into the DeFi market. So from that standpoint, the attractiveness was the potential for the value that could be added to what we were trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say now, having had some good, exposure to how Decentralized Masters operates, having been with us for some time now, how would you say Decentralized Masters has delivered on, the promises that were kind of made initially?
Well, I'll start with what did I expect and what did I get? And I'll maybe break it down in the first month or two, beginning, middle, end of 6 months. It's not a long period that I've been involved here. But when I first got on Circle and started to see, the information that was available, I was just very impressed with the thoroughness of the product. Not only the thoroughness of what's there, it was constantly changing as I was using it, which impressed me. I did notice that on some of the videos, when I went on for a certain website, it looked a little different than it was described in the video. And that's the challenge that you have, we all have, is that the technology and the products others are offering constantly change. But I noticed in updates to videos, that those things were changed in updated videos when things like the manuals came out. So you now had a hard copy of the information. It made it going back to refer to something. How do I go do this without having to go back and look through a video? It made it a lot easier to find a source. Those kind of things have been fantastic. And like I said, my general impression is the quality increase is self-generating by Decentralized Masters. They don't seem to be happy with the product they have now, that they're constantly evolving the product, which, I can see. So when I see that, I know you're trying to stay on the cutting edge, and on the cutting edge of getting that information to us, the users, if you will, or, the bigger part of the group.
That's awesome. Now having learned a lot more about it and having executed on it, what are your thoughts on DeFi as an investment vehicle into the future?
Well, I'm very encouraged. I'll say in the first 3 to 4 months, I did very well, setting up liquidity pools. And I also had a journey, actually, I should mention, of trying to get my assets in the proper format to make them legal from a tax standpoint, which did require me to kind of create an LLC so that I could hold crypto assets in my own wallet versus holding it in a self-directed IRA that was held by a third party. That was a process, quite honestly, I moved forward separately from Decentralized Masters, and I know there's a lot of people in the same boat I was in. That's something, they might consider as here's a method of going through this process for other people moving through that. So, but in, the first 4 months of 2024 was pretty successful with some of those things. So that was encouraging to see the potential there, physically in assets going up. It didn't hurt that the market was going up at the same time. So there was a lot of very positive results.
Yeah. Definitely. Considering, there are so many different areas of this market, and, there's also, just you have to factor in, what the media is talking about, and, there's just so many differing opinions in the space in general. How has Decentralized Masters impacted that aspect, right? Sifting through the noise, how has, if any, Decentralized Masters had an impact there?
Well, part of sifting through that noise is just educating yourself so that you understand what noise is positive to listen to and what noise is not. There's no doubt that, being able to attend sessions, to hear the questions that others are asking, to hear the answers, and even with the different staff that are involved with some of the live sessions and even the steps. There's usually a number of them on the call, so you hear a lot of different viewpoints from the staff at Decentralized Masters. It's not like they're coming from a particular subject from different angles. It's just good to hear different approaches or different viewpoints on a particular issue from multiple sources, because they all have different backgrounds, some of which may be closer, to perhaps my background or the way I'm thinking. And so it's good to hear that. I mean, again, it's almost overwhelming, even sitting through those sessions, the amount of information that's passing across the screen that needs to be looked at, or that can be looked at when studying a particular crypto or an approach for a project or whatever it happens to be. So having an institution, if you will, I'll call Decentralized Masters in it, but having the help to process that, to be able to sort of understand it in a little different way, and to be able to ask questions about it is sort of invaluable because, again, there's so much to it.
Yeah. Overall, from a monetary perspective, like, would you say that your investment into Decentralized Masters has been worth it?
No doubt. And again, I just renewed for the next year, so I kind of feel like I wouldn't have invested initially if I didn't think that there was the prospect of getting a return on that investment. So I feel like educationally the return is invaluable. In hard assets, I've done okay too from that standpoint in terms of compared to the initial investment. I think the perspective of moving forward certainly is order of magnitude compared to the investment. But again, it's such a complicated process that, I would never want to go through this without an advisor or and again, I know you're not an advisor, but without having the educational background to pull into that process.
What would you say to someone that was thinking about, joining Decentralized Masters or even just getting into the DeFi space in general?
Well, education is your best friend, I'll say, just like going through life. It's a complex world. DeFi Masters has people worldwide. The first question I ask sometimes when I'm talking to somebody is, well, where are you? Because it seems like everybody's in different places. So that brings a lot of different perspectives. In the U.S., we tend to think of things, okay, what is the U.S. doing? But when you get a worldwide perspective, it almost makes you think, well, it doesn't matter what the U.S. government is going to do. So from that standpoint, the amount of having the number of people involved, and I'm not just talking about staff, but also the number of other folks. So there's a lot to learn, and that's that is the process that you're based to provide the service, is educating us so that we're effective investors in a DeFi world. So and from the standpoint of, I'm a professional. I've been in the process of providing service through to healthcare clients throughout 35, 40 years of a career. So, the question is, what quality of service do I provide, and do those clients come back to me for more services? We seek to provide the highest level of service to them, and I feel that's your approach as well to us. And it comes through in the attitudes and the approach of all the staff that we talk to. And in particular in the product, I tend to kind of go work on my own a little bit. So a lot of times I'm sifting through Circle and sifting through some of the supporting information on my own. And, it's very helpful that it's updated so often. I was just looking at a session today that was 2 days ago, and it was helpful to be able to see something so recent. So those are the kind of things that are invaluable. And make the investment. The investment is a decent sized investment, but to me, that kind of knowledge and input and a continuous striving to be better is what it's all about. It's clear once you get involved with the process.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate that feedback, and it just makes my day to kind of hear that.
Okay.
Would you say that Decentralized Masters has truly helped you create a passive income?
It has, and I've been trying to work to take all the assets that I have in different places, pull them into one place, and be able to track them a little better, so I could see, what the status of that is at any one point, because that's the other challenge is with the crypto market. It's going up, it's coming down, it's going sideways. It becomes a challenge to say exactly how am I doing at the moment, and where did I start and where am I now? So, but overall, I feel like even though we're on a little bit of a bull session, if you will, a little bit of traction in the market, doesn't bother me at this point because I'm not in it for the short term. I'm in it for the long term. So it's just part of the process, and that's where the information that you're providing is key. It gives us as investors the confidence to know where we are and how to move forward.
Definitely. Would you recommend Decentralized Masters to someone else that's thinking about joining?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I've been impressed with the quality of the service, with the quality of the information that I've been presented, and with the overall approach to how to provide it. Also, to some degree, the ability to pull all these divergent people like myself together and have them as a support group for each other as well. It's definitely something that, whenever you're paying to join something like that, when you're paying for that service, you got to have the confidence that you're going to get a quality product. From your perspective, the question is how many people are staying with the process long term. That's the stat that is showing you, the level of satisfaction that people have with the product and how successful they're becoming as a result of it.
Absolutely.
So yes, going back to answer your question, I would absolutely recommend it to anybody, as a quality. If I did it, I'd recommend to them, look, I'm not only did I do it, I'm doing it again because of the, process that I feel like, I'm getting the money's worth. Let's put it that way. The results are going to be obvious in, where I am financially now versus then, and looking forward a year or two as well. I've chosen to go down this direction as a process of ultimately satisfying some of my financial goals, and Decentralized Masters is just a key part of it.
Well, music to my ears, man. I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad that we could be part of your journey, but you got to give credit to yourself as well. I mean, you've been an awesome student throughout the process, right? Like really diving into the material, and I think you really do get out of it what you put into it.
Well, that's true. Again, it becomes a matter of routine. It's a matter of fact. Oh, okay, I need to do this because of that. And as you said, 6 months ago, I only knew that I bought Bitcoin at this, and now it was worth this. And then it was starting to come back. It was like a stock, as far as I'm concerned, and in terms of my level of understanding of the asset. So from that standpoint, understanding in more depth certainly gives you more confidence to know where you can go in the future. And I have way more confidence now that this was the right choice than I did 6 months ago when I first joined. So, I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
Well, that's awesome, man. Appreciate all the kind words, man, genuinely, and I'm really glad that you've had a good experience, and I'm stoked to have you around for another year.
Okay, great.
Awesome, man.
Well,
okay.
Take care.
Bye.